The truth? The raw truth. I never even heard of it until Textile Farm's fought.
Well, what's interesting about Minnesota is that it's been in the food business for over 150 years.
I think that people outside of the Twin Cities don't often understand just how many large multinational businesses are headquartered here in the Twin Cities.
If you look at the history of this region, if you look at the great companies in this region, and you understand the food science that comes out of both the companies and also out of the university, you really have a significant advantage to start your business here versus anywhere else if that's the industry you're in.
You would literally grow food throughout the state and then send it down the Mississippi. And so when you're doing that and growing those businesses, you then are building out other businesses to support those businesses in scaling.
Minneapolis and St. Paul has a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem. A lot of people are just starting to recognize that.
I think this Minneapolis-St. Paul region is a perfect region to continue to drive and help the startup community.
I think it's incredibly exciting that the Techstars Farm to Fork program is here, and it's really going to capitalize on the breadth of expertise that we have here. Because we have so many Fortune 500 companies, large-scale private companies, these teams can capitalize on a lot of expertise across the supply chain.
And so you can basically find everything. There's a large R&D network around this community, and when you start talking about agriculture and food production in particular, there's probably no better place in the world to do that work than here.
We don't have very many cities at Techstars that we've run multiple programs, and they tend to have been really large cities, LA, New York. And that's a pretty amazing opportunity for the Twin Cities to have two programs.
The significance of having two Techstars programs in the Twin Cities is really two-parted. One is for the entrepreneurs going through the program, the other is for the cities itself.
And there's a certain sort of gravitational attraction to Techstars that I think is really helpful to a community.
It attracts investors to town. It attracts high-powered entrepreneurs to town. It brings people here. It also gives the community something to rally around. And oftentimes some of these entrepreneurs end up moving and staying here and building big businesses.
When people come and have this intense experience and they meet their mentors and they spend time in that local community, a decent number of them actually decide that that's where they want to start their business.
We have companies here from Canada, from India. We have entrepreneurs from Brazil. We have people from literally all over the world that have come to the Twin Cities and to St. Paul to attend this program.
Minnesota is not going to be a best-kept secret anymore. This is the time for Minnesota to sort of assert itself.
For starters, we bring a bunch of companies in. There's money obviously involved. There's energy, there's programming, and then we surround it all by mentors, most of whom are local.
The next 13 weeks is crazy. It's kind of broken up into three parts. The first part, we put them in rooms with a ton of smart people. We call it Mentor Madness. So they'll meet with, in this program, over 100 people in 12 days. They do 20-minute speed dates. They'll end up connecting with a few of those people who become what we call lead mentors. And those lead mentors help keep them accountable, help them with advice and Rolodex throughout the entirety of the program. And they just build great relationships that often last forever.
They're going to be thinking differently about their businesses. They're going to connect with people that they never expected to connect with.
Some of the strongest relationships that they build are with the other entrepreneurs in their program. Here, they're going to get to meet not just the people that are going through the Techstars Farm to Fork cohort, but we have events and things scheduled where they get to meet the Techstars retail cohort as well. So now instead of having just 9 or 10 other companies, they have 19, 20 other companies that they can really build strong bonds with.
So our lovely winners of the Farm to Fork Extravaganza Eleganza Scavenger Hunt, it goes to Heavy Connect and EIO.
Second month of the program, they kind of really put their heads down. They're done with a lot of meetings and really try and build. They take a lot of the knowledge and the advice and expertise that they got in that first month, and they act on it. They build on it. They start creating new products. They're going out and selling. They're leveraging the new connections that they have to do those types of things that will help accelerate their business.
And they're going to leave the program not necessarily on a different trajectory that they came in, but on a much accelerated trajectory.
Techstars taught us the language that we wanted to be speaking in order to make sense to investors and better communicate our vision.
I kind of view it as a crash course in an MBA program.
What scares me the most over the next 13 weeks is how we're going to operate with lack of sleep.
What scares me mostly, like I had to make my company run at the same time that I had to make things happen.
It's going to be much much more intense than they realized it was going to be. It's going to go by much faster than they expected it to go by.
The schedule is daunting. We are having about 120 meetings over the course of 3 weeks, which for some of us who aren't absolute extroverts can be a pretty heavy emotional load.
It's going to be a lot of long nights. I'm not going to get very much sleep over these next 13 weeks. But from what I understand, this is a singular experience in our journey as a company and my journey in my career. Hi, I'm Francesco, CEO and co-founder of Induction Food Systems. We're developing heating technology to replace steam in food and beverage processing. We first got our start with NASA technology, and now we're commercializing to help manufacturers increase efficiency and expand more efficiently.
We're in a global trade, and what we do is we eliminate the manual paperwork that's required to ship ocean containers. So we simplify and automate the tasks, the preparation, the tracking, and most importantly, the generation of document sets that are required for shipping ocean containers.
Big Wheelbarrow is a software company that helps wholesale buyers easily work with small suppliers. So we've created an AI technology that's a force multiplier for wholesalers, so they can actually work with more small suppliers to fill their orders without spending more time on the phone.
Yeah, Thrive is a lending platform, so it's very simple to understand the problem. We are, as of now, focusing exclusively in the agriculture sector, and Thrive was born to connect the dots, to connect the farmers with the land.
Renewal Mill is solving both the issues of food waste and affordable nutrition. So we're taking byproducts from food manufacturing companies, harvesting them, upcycling them into high-value ingredients and products. And because of the cost savings of using these byproducts that would otherwise go to waste, we're able to use them to produce these superfood products at a low cost.
Connect is a platform that helps farmers to simplify his operation. So we try to remove paper from the checklist that they have to do for food safety. We remove paper from the timesheets that they have to fill every day for the employees. And by doing this, we simplify the workday.
The global dairy industry loses about $10 billion worth of production every year from undetected illnesses in the udders of dairy animals. We solve that problem with a solution that scales from the largest of farms down to the smallest farms, and does so in a way that's affordable for everybody.
Our mission statement is to improve success rate and profitability of restaurants. But one of the reasons why restaurants fail is because they don't have a clear sense of, okay, what should be my cost structure? Like, how much should be my menu margins in each of the menu items? Whether I'm making profits at the end of the week or end of the month. So pepper kind of takes that guesswork out.
Taste is personal. Food preferences are very personal to every one of us, right? You like spicy, I don't. Personalization needs to come into this industry across the entire spectrum, and nobody's doing that.
Companies come into Techstars and they think it's going to be transformational. They have no idea just how transformational it's going to be.
In 3 months, these companies going through a program literally will get 2 years of work done.
It's emotionally and I think intellectually draining.
It really is truly intense.
Well, it has been a grind, it has been tiring, but it's also been exhilarating.
We just got finished with 3 weeks of the Mentor Madness programs.
We've had 115 odd meetings or something, and it was just like, you know, people from across the ecosystem. It was insane.
Think about you're going through, you have 20-minute meetings, you're just scraping the surface of meeting these people, and you're meeting 115 of them over the course of 3 weeks, which is just insane.
It's stress testing how well you can build a network and how quickly.
Suddenly I have a huge US network, or a Minnesotan network actually.
Been really impressed with the level of executive mentorship in the area.
So each company, they have their own lead mentors. So we can like go deep in specific things. We have a mentor to help us in sales. We have a new one who will help us to grow.
Mentor Madness was somewhat overwhelming, but it was also really helpful because it was a ton of advice that you were able to get condensed into a short period of time.
You get so much feedback in such an intense amount of time.
So we talked to them about mentor whiplash, which is an actual thing. They'll go from room to room, And in one room, they'll get one piece of advice, and in the next room, they will get the exact opposite piece of advice.
It's a stress test on the team. It's a stress test on your idea. Really, at the end of the day, it's a stress test on what you're going to do for the next 2 months.
What was really interesting was getting the outside feedback from mentors who work in and amongst industry professionals with a certain level of expertise.
Cargill's been in the business of food supply chain and logistics, and getting food from a farmer's field to where it needs to go. And Big Wheelbarrow is addressing a market that Cargill's not in. And so we're encouraged by that and excited by the technology that they're bringing to help connect it in the local food market.
And for them to come into a room and see what these companies are doing and say, wow, these are great ideas.
I don't think anybody can really comprehend what that means for a business.
What they have to do now is take all that feedback and decide which way they need to go.
Out of this process, we gained some really great insight about one of our key sectors, and it unlocked a really cool opportunity for us to hone our vision and focus on a very specific market.
One big advantage for the entrepreneurs that go through the program, they take a lot of the knowledge and the advice and expertise that they got in that first month, and they act on it, they build on it. They start creating new products, they're going out and selling, they're leveraging the new connections that they have to do those types of things that will help accelerate their business.
So now we're actually in the process of putting together a product that addresses this market head on, and we're building it for the next 2 months.
One surprise for us has been finding interesting partnerships with other companies in the cohort. One example is that we're working with Dish. They've developed the food grain, and Okara is this new ingredient that we're bringing to market. So we're working with them to think about ways that we can pair Okara with other food products and have a really interesting portfolio for our R&D work using their food grain.
We have this core food brain, so it's taste prediction technology, and we have some ideas before going into these meetings about where it might be relevant in the ecosystem. What was interesting to us is that we found 5 or 6 different new use cases of the technology.
2 really big insights came out of Mentor Madness that I wasn't expecting. The first of which was a new product concept that really helps us take our heating technology and applies it in a way that meets a need that food and beverage manufacturers have that we hadn't considered before. It's not only a really big need, but it's also a very valuable one.
One of the hardest things about being in the middle of the program is that you start getting nervous about demo day, and you feel like you need to be taking action specifically for demo day.
Making sure that they're focused on exactly what their business needs to do and where it needs to go is going to be very, very important.
The next several weeks for us is really kind of going hard on the business.
Execute, execute, execute. Start going faster than we ever have before, moving projects forward in ways that we've never had the focus and support to be able to do.
It's 60 days to demo day, and we're counting down every hour and every minute. Time to get back to work.
I've got like 7 meetings to go now, so I need to get going. All right, guys, I'm really sorry I have to go, okay? Bye.
So we know population's moving from 7 billion to 9 billion. You already have a world that's short on water.
Every country on the planet feels some sort of pain.
How are we going to feed the world in 2050? What are we going to feed them? Who are we feeding? And how do we drive access, equity, inclusion in that system?
So there's billions of pounds of fibrous byproducts that are disposed of every year from food manufacturing facilities.
40% of the food in America goes in the garbage.
Farming is hard. It's not an easy job.
The average interest rate that our farmers pay in Brazil is 25%. It impacts the food security worldwide.
60% of the restaurants fail in the first 3 years, and 80% of them fail in 5 years.
420,000 people die every year because of food contamination.
And one of the reasons I was most excited about this program specifically was not just the impact that we can have helping entrepreneurs succeed. It's also about when we do have that impact with those entrepreneurs, they can impact the world.
They are immediately going to have global impact because food impacts everybody.
We have solutions to literally global problems that can help feed the world.
We've got the technology to not just help people make better food choices, but we've got the technology to help people make better food choices for the planet and themselves.
Pepper can cause an impact of, just in the US, of 35 billion across 700,000 locations. And in similar economies, it can cause an impact of 80 billion.
How can we improve manufacturing to be greener, be more efficient?
So we want to help smallhold farmers all over the world get more of their product into the food supply chain.
By sourcing ingredients from byproducts, we're actually able to reduce food waste and keep this nutrition in the food supply chain.
People should be able to invest in their own food, and this is the beginning of how we are going to make it happen in the future.
And we have to do it. There's just no other alternative. Either we can stick with old technology and old systems that are keeping us back, or we can push forward to the new generation.
Demo day, and we have a launched product.
We have almost tripled our customer base. Mission accomplished.
IFS had an aha moment, sitting literally at the same table with another Techstars startup.
Through the intensity of this program, try and build an MVP, build a demo of the products, it's just been absolutely insane, one thing after the other.
These companies have worked really, really hard over the last 13 weeks.
I love talking to entrepreneurs as they come out of Techstars and ask them what they were thinking when they came into Techstars and how much has changed.
We had high expectations, but we still can't believe how much we have achieved.
Everything that we were exposed to here in Techstars changed the way that we were seeing the company.
What I'm presenting at Demo Day almost literally didn't exist 3 months ago. It was just, at best, an idea in our head.
Techstars plus Twin Cities, plus all the 8 companies here, it changed completely my point of view of how to be an entrepreneur.
They're going to leave the program not necessarily on a different trajectory that they came in, but on a much accelerated trajectory.
Demo Day is really like the exclamation point on this huge sentence we've been building throughout program.
I'm excited about Demo Day.
I am pumped for Demo Day.
Demo Day is going to be like, wow.
Demo Day gives them the opportunity to become really good at talking about their businesses.
The practice pitches get scored out of 10. We actually have to all be at 8 or above to be allowed to actually speak on Demo Day.
Part of what they are trying to accomplish by Demo Day is being able to present how they are going to take over the world.
They're now going to get up on stage and tell the world what they've done and how much they've gotten done.
Here is what I wanted to say on Demo Day, and I did it.
Demo Day is going to be the place where people are going to say, wow, you did that in 13 weeks, so imagine what you're going to do in the rest of the days.
I'm really excited about the part after Demo Day. It's going to be a chance where we kind of take a few minutes to reflect on what we achieved and the things that we want to celebrate together and kind of recognize that achievement. But then the next day, it's back down to it.
Techstars in the program is not about getting to Demo Day. It's about building a big business.
That's the end goal here. It's not to have a great 13 weeks. The end goal is to set them up for success for the long run, and that's one of the things that Techstars does really well.
They're graduating, but we'll always be their counselors.
So Techstars doesn't end after 13 weeks. I fully expect to talk to most of these founders on a weekly basis.
We really do consider ourselves like the other founder of their business.
When you graduate from a Techstars program, you are forever a Techstars grad.
Techstars is for life. We work with these companies forever. Nine out of 10 companies in this world fail. Techstars, about 9 out of 10 companies succeed.
We talked about looking back on the program, but let's talk about what happens to these companies when they exit.
They will have the support of Techstars for life. They will now have these lifelong relationships that they made with mentors over the course of the last 3 months.
The Techstars chapter is closing. We're really excited about the next chapter.
I feel confident to say that we are ready to change the world.
And now we're ready to just hit the ground running as soon as we leave the program.
This community will now support them and help them. When people come and have this intense experience and they meet their mentors, a decent number of them actually decide that that's where they want to start their business.
I am staying in Minnesota.
We are going to stay here in town.
We are thinking about that, moving our headquarters here.
And this area, St. Paul, Minnesota, the Twin Cities in general, it gets inside you and you don't want to leave. And with the access to the help and the access to the talent.
You know, we learned during the program that the talent here was incredible, but also everybody's like 1 or 2 generations removed from the farm.
I didn't realize just quite how much of an epicenter for my industry that St. Paul and Minneapolis is.
One of the real strengths of the Twin Cities is the breadth and diversity of ideas that are coming out of startups.
When you have the type of expertise that we have in food and agriculture specifically, we are uniquely positioned to build a world-class ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship, and we're going to create it together.
The cool thing about entrepreneurship is that it's contagious. When you sit in a room with some of these entrepreneurs, they're passionate about what they do. It makes you want to help them. It's this really neat effect that entrepreneurship has on people that very few things I've ever seen do.
It's infectious when you're here. They believe it, they're working towards it. That purpose is what's going to help them all be more successful than others who are attempting the same thing.